Saturday, December 7, 2013. This is Mercedes Diesel Guy, and this is the driver's seat I'm going to be using in my 1983 Mercedes 240D. This is a seat out of a 1979 car. You can kind of tell by the bat ear headrest you can see here, plus the earlier bamboo-colored, slightly different texture MB Tex upholstery. Now, the original driver's seat in the 83 was all torn up and unusable. The passenger seat was in good shape, but I sold that. I had a full, pretty nice leather interior, but I sold that too because I was able to make some money on it. The upholstery on this seat, it's a little bit torn up in the front, on the backrest and seat, but I will be able to patch it up. And I'll show you what I'm going to do with that. But my biggest concern is the padding in this seat has disintegrated pretty badly. Now it's pretty much all still in here. This car sat in the field for about 15 years, but I've noticed, especially with these earlier 123 seats, I don't think it's quite as common with the late ones, but the padding does get old and brittle and just turns to dust. The seat looks not too bad in terms of how intact it is, but if I sit on this a couple of times, it's just going to all crumble and fall out the bottom. So I'm going to take care of this before it gets to be too much of a problem. And of course, as usual, I'm going to be doing this on a budget. Now, the padding is not the only problem. There's actually also some issues with the springs in the lower portion of the seat. I'm going to repair that as well. I'm going to show you how to do that. Basically, once again, the object is to do this as cheaply as possible while making it last as long as I can. I could throw hundreds and hundreds of dollars at the seat in terms of new upholstery, new padding, new seat springs, but for a car that I'm really trying to keep the cost down for, I don't really see the wisdom in doing that, especially if I can make solid repairs using fairly non-standard materials. Let me show you what I got for the padding. So hold on a second. This is actually an old memory foam mattress pad. Ignore this staining. That's actually just from me dragging it around the garage in the basement. Here's where it bumped against the lawnmower. But this is memory foam, and it's still in really good shape. I think it's 3 inches thick. And this is king size. Now, once you have the seat out of the car, pretty much the first thing you're going to want to do is remove the back panel right here, and there's a Phillips head screw here at the bottom. And once you have the screw out, you can really just pull this back panel off. Really, all you have to do is flex it a bit. And then work it out of the back. At this point, it would be a good idea to remove the headrest, because you're going to have to do that to get the backrest upholstery off. But in my case, the headrest bars are kind of rusty and are sort of lodged in place here. So I've sprayed some penetrating oil on here. I'm going to let that sit for a while. I'll get to removing the headrest later. Right now, I'm going to move on to removing the seat tracks from the seat bottom. And in order to do that, I'm going to flip the seat over. And it's not going to be easy for you to see, but there are 4 Phillips head screws holding the tracks to the seat bottom. 2 at the rear of the rails here, and then 2 here at the front. Which are going to be not quite as easy for me to get to. So I'm going to go ahead and remove those. Well, forgive the lack of lighting as usual down here in the basement, but as you can see, I have the seat tracks and everything off the seat now. I have everything labeled, and I have the seat at a point where I could at least probably release the bottom upholstery, but in order to release the seat back upholstery, I'm also going to have to take off the knob here, which just pops right out, and the 2 plastic side panels, which technically do just pop right out, but they're old and brittle and they're not wanting to release. I think I'm probably, unfortunately, going to break them while removing, so Just be forewarned of that. I don't know of an easy way to do that. Much to my surprise, I was actually able to pop both of these side panels off without breaking them. You can see right there the plastic is a little marred from where I was prying against it. But this plug right here in the center is what holds the two side panels onto the seat. So that might give you an idea. It just pops straight out. So the only other thing I'm going to have to do, and I'm out of time for the weekend, is see if I can get some light on this for you. Now there's these two bolts here on either side of the seat. Can't say for sure what size they are. Somewhere 13, 14, 15. I don't have my sockets down here yet. But looks like those two bolts should release the seat back from the seat bottom. So on the seat bottom here, I'm going to be repairing the vinyl, the springs, and putting in new padding. And just so you see here, this stuff on the table, this is all horsehair padding that fell out while I was working on the seat. I mean, this stuff is done. It has to be replaced. So this is Mercedes Diesel Guy. Thanks for watching, and I'll bring you more of this next week.